who sells all of our sponsorships. And they are revising, ISS is revising the abstract copy of Mike Lynn's Cisco iOS presentation. They want to revise his materials on our website and would like to ask us to remove the previous content and post the new content. This is not coming from Mike, this is coming from Renee. So, that's a little weird. Because we accepted Mike, we didn't accept ISS. So, do you update the materials at the behest of Renee over at ISS? Raise your hand. Who would update the materials? Dave would update the materials. I think we should update the materials if Mike says it's okay to update the materials. So we go ahead and we ask Mike, like, what's going on? Should we update the materials or not? And Mike's pretty easygoing. You can see as he's rocking out here. But now we've got ISS involved. ISS is trying to get in on Mike's action. So now I've got two people talking to me. So now I've got to get involved because something is hideously going wrong here, and I hate it when employers start trying to mess around with their employees' submissions. So we talk to Mike. Mike says everything's cool. I don't care, you can do whatever you want to my materials online as long as I get to present my materials. I'll remove a couple of details, key offsets and some other source code snippets, and it'll please ISS because really what ISS is trying to do is please Cisco. And that'll become a little bit more clear later. Mike and ISS know it's still possible to update the materials, and as long as he plans to do his demo and show that it happens, he doesn't care. That's the most important thing. He needs to show his demo. So, it's a little weird, but it's not costing me any more money, and there's still time to do it, so I'll roll with the punches and make any changes that they want. But then the threats begin. This is also from Renee. I edited it down so you could get it all on one screen. Ping is the person that was maintaining the website back then. So apparently now they want to reprint all the materials at a cost to Cisco, including rush fees. And if it's not possible to fulfill this request, they're going to cancel all their sponsorships, pull all their attendees, and generally be bad players. Please call me as soon as possible. So it went from everything's okay to these threats about Cisco paying for everything. So I'm a little frustrated. I'm like, what the fuck? Like you're a sponsor, everything's cool, but now we've got Cisco involved. So Cisco's pressuring ISS, which is pressuring me, it's pressuring Mike. It's quickly kind of getting out of hand. And since now they're threatening me, I do what any good American does. You involve your lawyer. So now I've got my lawyer in the mix. So we've got Team Black Hat on the left, and we've got these other players here kind of in the middle. And so with these threats involved, they're basically telling us reprint all the printed materials in the CD, and that that Cisco wants to have it all done. It's all coming from Cisco, it's not us. And they threaten sponsorship. So you know what the question is. Do you do it? Do you reprint? Or do you tell them to take a flying leap? They're going to pay for it. It doesn't cost you a thing. Who here would reprint? And who wouldn't reprint? Why wouldn't you reprint? It doesn't cost you a thing. The principle is that you're too busy and you don't want to forward an updated PDF to the printer. So I'm not opposed to reprinting, but reprinting is expensive and it's time consuming. At some point, it actually becomes physically impossible to reprint. We got that email, if you notice this, the previous email, we got it 2 days before the conference training started. So we're in Las Vegas, and it's a little bit hard to reprint. So Ping crafted this beautiful email, basically saying, Renee, I believe that ISS does not understand that the following items would need to be reprinted. The printed conference proceedings book that contains all the materials. It contains his old descriptions, his old title, and the slides. The conference CD, which contains a PDF, and the printed program, which contains all the description in the old title. It is absolutely impossible for each one of these items to be revised, reprinted, and delivered here in time on Monday, July 25th a.m. for the conference. The conference proceedings are well over 1,100 pages and require a week to produce, another week to ship, and weighs 14,000 pounds. And is 2,300 books. Rush production is possible, but you get to pay 100% rush charge, and since you'd be producing on a weekend, that's another 100% rush charge. So it gets fantastically expensive. And at the very bottom, it just says, I've received a request from Mike Lind and will update the web page. But it's basically impossible. We called around in the surrounding states, Nevada, California, Oregon. You can't produce these books. It physically cannot be done in time. And they dithered and dithered, and now they've run out of time. And so far, you'll notice I haven't heard word one from anybody at Cisco. So, as far as I know, we told them it's not possible. We get this email back from Renee on Friday the 22nd that says, I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to outline the specific challenges. I wish you best of luck. Sounds like the problem's over. We told them that we couldn't produce the materials in time, and they said, okay, I thought it would be a problem. Best of luck. Who here thinks everything's okay? I mean, this is a great email. It's like, great, I can focus on the conference. Everything's good. Yeah. So there's a significant undertaking, wishes us best of luck. We all say, great, that problem's done, and we move on. Well, if only. I'm hanging down at the conference, and I run into this guy, Mike Cottle from Cisco. And it's 40 hours to go to the briefings, and I'm just hanging around, calming my nerves. Mike comes up to me and says, hey, Jeff, mind if I see the presentation materials? I say, oh, hey, Mike, I know you're from Cisco. You probably want to see Mike Lind's talk. He's like, yeah, I'm kind of interested. I'm like, okay. Well, we don't normally hand out the books until like maybe the evening right before. He's like, well, I'd really like to see it, you know. I said, well, if I give you the book, don't say you got it from me, and just look it over and then give it back to me because I don't want everybody coming up to me wanting their books early. He's like, no problem. So, the question is, do you, well, I'm sorry, I jumped a little bit ahead. Do you let him see the materials? Who would let him see the materials? You would let him see the materials, show of hands? Okay, not let him see the materials. See, now why wouldn't you let him see the materials? Renee's told me everything's cool. Anybody from the against camp? Because it's Cisco. I had the everything's okay from Renee in writing. Wait. So you show him. Yes, I do show him because I understand at that point that everything's okay. ISS said everything's okay, and Mike's a good guy, and what's he really going to do? So he flips open the book, goes to Mike's materials, and the first thing he says is, holy crap, that's not supposed to be in there. At which point I say, what's not supposed to be in there? And he's like, ISS told us that none of these materials were in the book. I'm like, well, they're in the book. Guess what? You know? And he's like, I've got to make some phone calls. Like, you make any phone calls you got to make. You do your thing. So he starts making phone calls, and like literally within 10 seconds of making phone calls, we start getting scary lawyer calls. And there's scary lawyer calls from Cisco, and so I looked at the market cap that day. They're like $6 billion or $10 billion or $15 billion, and I look at my market cap, which is like checking my bank account, and you realize there's some trouble here. My biggest conference ever is running. I've got prospective buyers like all over the place. ISS didn't bother telling Cisco that reprinting was ever an option, and ISS told Cisco that the materials weren't in there. So now I've got not just $1 billion company, I've got $2 billion companies breathing down my back, and ISS changes their story and tells Cisco that I had told them that everything was fine and everything had been taken care of. So I've got some problems. they want me to remove the materials. Cisco says that it's too late to replace the materials. It's too late to reproduce. So the only option is to pull the materials. And it's not too late to do that. Now, they've got lawyers on the phone. They're threatening all kind of imminent harm. And that's like the magic term of art legal phrase, imminent harm, meaning that they can't delay. Damage will occur immediately, so they have to take action. And since Cisco is really big and they're friends with Judge White, or no Judge White, in California, and they make their case to this federal judge, or they're trying to make a case to a federal judge, that if they don't have this material pulled, the internet will crash, intellectual property will be leaked, and imminent harm will occur. So from our standpoint, if you challenge them, and if you risk battling them and not pulling the materials, and you lose, and the judge buys imminent harm, and he shuts down your conference, you've got like 3,000 people now without a show to go to that have paid money to fly to your conference and pay for hotel rooms, and they can't go to your conference because you're shut down. And that's kind of a big risk. And it's not my material, and if the speaker wants me to pull the material, I would just seriously contemplate removing the material, because I'm not going to try to get him in trouble by publishing it, and I certainly don't want my conference shut down. So I'm kind of in a rock and a hard place. So the question is, would you remove? Would you remove the material and risk the future of the conference, or would you tough it out on principle and let the lawyers go at it? Who would remove? Who would tough it out? Okay, so luckily for me, that question was removed when the judge issued a temporary restraining order, and the federal judge ordered us to remove. So I didn't have to make that decision. I was all for removal, though, if Mike Lin was okay with it. So we had to remove. And now we've got a problem of how do you remove all this material quickly? Luckily, Cisco was there with like 15, 20 people. They hired temporary employees. They Mike Cottle hits this magic button on his pager. Seriously, it's like he hits one magic button and like every Cisco pager goes off in all of Caesar's Palace. And people are down at the bar having drinks, and all of a sudden they're told, like, time to rip out pages. So I have this video I'll play you later of everybody ripping out all the pages. It was pretty impressive. They did 2,300 books in like 4 hours. It was pretty fast. So they pull out all the pages. The materials are removed from the conference book. Cisco and ISS decided they'd reburn the CDs on their own gear, they'd ship in the CDs so we could hand something out, and we updated the Black Hat website to remove Mike's materials. So we've complied with the federal TRO, and we think everything is cool at this point. It is not. Let's see, where are we? We've got the scary lawyers. It's now July 26th, we're getting ready to start the conference, and people are going to open up these books and they're going to see a huge section missing. I mean, the page will just now naturally flip open to the Mike Lin stuff that's missing. And they're going to be, oh, that's kind of a, not normal Black Hat quality. And then they're going to look at the CD and it's going to be this blank silver CD with like a sticker on it. And they're going to wonder what's going on. So I'm going to have to tell the attendees something. It's affected the quality of my materials, and I'm not going to let Cisco or ISS try to impact the experience. So I'm going to have to tell people something's going on. So do you make a statement to the attendees? Of course you do. You have to. But it would be nice if the statement to the attendees kind of matched what Cisco and ISS was going to say. So I'm on the conference call. We literally have about 14 attorneys on the call. It's all done. The TRO is complete. The materials have been handed over to Mike Cottle, the master CDs. Everybody's been notified. And I say to the attorneys, okay, that's great. The show starts. I hand out books in 45 minutes. We have international press, like 35 international press. The conference hasn't started, and this is the biggest story yet. It's buzzing. What are you guys going to say? I'm going to tell them the truth. What are you guys going to say? And the attorney is like, there's this little pregnant pause on the phone, and the attorneys are like, Ooh, that's marketing's problem, isn't it? No, I think that's PR. No, I think, well, the agreement's complete, right? Yep. Okay, bye. Click, 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 click.